For humanoid robots to work in real homes, several constraints would have to change at the same time, not incrementally, not independently, simultaneously. This is not a question of optimism or pessimism. It is a requirements analysis. If even one of these constraints remains unsolved, humanoid robots stay impractical in domestic environments. So the only useful question is, what would actually have to change? A home robot must be available when needed, not when convenient. That is the baseline requirement. Homes do not schedule work the way factories do. Tasks appear unpredictably. They overlap. They interrupt each other. A robot might be asked to clean, then stop, then resume later, then assist with something else entirely. These are not edge cases. This is normal domestic behavior. Current systems are built around batteries that assume planned duty cycles. They assume work can be paused safely. Homes violate both assumptions. When a robot exhausts its battery mid-task, the problem is not downtime. The problem is state. Most discussions focus on improving robot hardware. That is the wrong direction. Homes do not reward mechanical sophistication. They punish it. Every joint is a wear point. Every actuator multiplies failure risk. Every added degree of freedom increases maintenance burden. Domestic environments include impacts, clutter, pets, drops, and people. They are mechanically hostile. For humanoid robots to work at home, mechanical complexity would need to decrease, not increase. Fewer joints, fewer failure modes, less generality. This likely means abandoning full humanoid flexibility in favor of constrained capability, less impressive demonstrations, more boring reliability. Until mechanical systems tolerate daily abuse without supervision, autonomy remains theoretical. Domestic perception is not a vision problem. It is a responsibility problem. Homes contain transparent objects, reflective surfaces, deformable materials, pets, and children. These are not rare conditions. They are constant. Perception systems today operate probabilistically. They estimate, they infer, they guess. That is acceptable in software. It is dangerous in physical space. A robot that misclassifies an object on screen produces an error. A robot that misclassifies an object in a home produces damage or injury. Demonstrations hide this by using supervision, constraints, and resets. Homes do not allow resets. For humanoid robots to work at home, perception must be reliable enough to be legally defensible, not impressive in controlled environments. Defensible after an incident. The clearest signal is insurance. If insurers will not underwrite unsupervised operation in homes, the system is not ready. Until liability can be assigned, priced, and absorbed, autonomy remains limited to supervised contexts. Even if energy, mechanics, and perception improve, adoption still depends on economics. Homes already solve tasks through humans, appliances, and narrow automation. That is the substitution baseline. Any new system must outperform that baseline on cost, reliability, and friction. Not emotionally, not aspirationally, economically. For humanoid robots to work at home, total cost of ownership must drop below the cost of substitution. That includes purchase, maintenance, downtime, and risk. Intelligence does not change this equation. Only reliability and cost do. Until humanoid robots become the lower friction option, adoption remains irrational. Humanoid robots struggle in real homes not because of a single flaw, but because their systems are tightly coupled. Power, perception, motion, and control are all interdependent. When something small fails, the system cannot degrade gracefully. It stops.